Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 530 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Eilon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out last week. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous, Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, my speakers and I, we talk about sexual assault prevention on college campuses every single week. So we are always looking for new products or services that are going to make our campuses safer. One of the latest trends that I've been watching is wearable clothing and jewelry that can help students to keep safe. And I wanted to talk to a visionary in this field to learn more and see if this can help us on college campuses. So let me introduce you to our guest, Rajia Abdelaziz, advocate for women and children's safety. She is the CEO and co-founder of invisaWear, a company at the forefront of smart jewelry and life-saving technology. In just a few short years, she has scaled the business to reach over 100,000 customers, offering them innovative solutions to personal safety. Through strategic fundraising efforts, Raha successfully raised millions of dollars, bringing the product to market within just 2 years, which is a very impressive feat for a startup in a very competitive tech industry. As a minority female CEO, Raja is passionate about inspiring other young entrepreneurs to pursue their dreams despite societal pressures that may tell them otherwise. Beating the odds inspired Raja to give back through mentorship, where she guides aspiring entrepreneurs at UMass Lowell's Entrepreneurship program. Her goal is to empower the next generation of business leaders to challenge the status quo and achieve success on their own terms. Welcome to the show, Raja.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here chatting with you today.
Hey, the pleasure is all of mine. Anytime I see an entrepreneur going out and doing something totally incredible in a field that I'm passionate about, you have an open spot on our podcast anytime you want to come by. So thank you. Thank you so much for
You
being
are
here.
too kind. Thank you so
Of
much.
course, of course. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your background. I always think it's fascinating to figure out where you came from in order to understand where you're going. So you chose the University of Massachusetts Lowell for your undergraduate experience. You had a double major of electrical engineering and computer science. That is not easy. So why did you choose UMass Lowell?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Well, I actually was born and raised, so I was born in Egypt. I'll start with the backstory. I'll tell you my life story.
Yeah.
So my mom and dad immigrated to the United States when they were in their early 20s. My dad studied engineering at the University of Vermont. He worked really hard. He was an engineer himself, actually. And when he came to the United States, he didn't have much. He actually couldn't even afford a car. He would walk in the freezing cold winters in Vermont. We all lived in a one-bedroom apartment, him, my mom, my brother, and I. And fast forward to today, years later, his daughter runs a multi-million-dollar company. Talk about the American dream come true. But I actually ended up deciding to go to Massachusetts for school because I had heard how amazing of a university UMass Lowell was, and I wanted an affordable option. And to be honest with you, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I decided to do a double major in electrical engineering and computer science. Like you said, I joke with my friends, I'm like, maybe I just don't like to sleep or something. I'm always doing all of the really difficult things in life. But at UMass Lowell, I had so many incredible opportunities, one of which was an internship at Amazon, where I was exposed to programming wearable devices very early on, which went on to inspire my career choice with starting my company.
That is just incredible. Listen, you and I have very similar paths as the sons or daughters of immigrants to this country going out and just making the American dream happen. So we have a lot in common that way. You're now the CEO and the co-founder of invisaWear. This is this company at the forefront of smart jewelry and life-saving technology. And if you look at the statistics, we know that every 68 seconds an American is sexually assaulted. Sadly, one out of every six American women has been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. So, what inspired you to create a product that is focused on personal safety? And how did your background and how did your time with Amazon, how did all of that influence the idea?
Yeah, these statistics, Mike, are absolutely horrific and they need to change. When
Mm,
I was studying engineering in college, I actually almost became a part of that statistic that you were talking about. One in six women experience an attempted or completed rape at some point in their lifetime. When I had that situation, I was actually leaving classes late at night
mm,
and I was walking back to my car when an SUV full of guys drove by. They rolled down the window, started yelling inappropriate comments. At first, Mike, I literally rolled my eyes. I was like, things like this happen all the time. It was nothing out of the ordinary.
mm,
But this time was slightly different. The car stopped and one of the four guys started to get out. It was by far one of the scariest moments of my life. What can you do in a situation like that? You can't really look at the person and say, hey, please don't hurt me. I'm just going to call 911, tell them where I am, what the emergency is. Oh, and don't move my location for 8 minutes while a police officer arrives to the scene. Obviously, that's unrealistic. Even if you try and call a friend, they're going to try and smash your phone to the ground because it will be very obvious.
mm,
I was so lucky, Mike. I was parked so close. I ended up running, and by some miracle, they ended up leaving me alone. I wasn't hurt. But for the next hour and a half, I can't even tell you, I was shaking uncontrollably. All I could think about was, wow, that could have been my face on the next morning's news channel, or that could have been my story that you hear on these true crime podcasts. It was sickening. I got home and I immediately started looking for safety devices to protect myself and my loved ones. I thought to myself, of course, there's got to be so many safety devices. I mean, think of home security. We all protect our homes. You've got ADT, the number one name in home security, Simply Safe, a more affordable option, Ring Doorbell, which just got acquired by Amazon for over $1 billion. We have so many options to protect our loved ones while they're at home. But when I was looking for ways to protect myself and the people I care about on the go, all I could find were big, ugly panic buttons. You know what my 80-year-old grandmother says about those ugly panic buttons, Mike? She says she'd rather fall and not be able to get up than to be seen wearing one of those ugly devices.
It's a good
I
point.
don't blame her.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was 100, I would also refuse to wear those devices. You should never compromise your dignity to feel safe. And that's what inspired the concept behind invisaWear. I was working as a software engineering intern at Amazon where I was programming wearable devices. So I thought to myself, how has the personal safety space not had any innovation in the last 100 years? It was mind blowing to me. This was before the Apple Watch was common. So I was like, there could be a watch, there could be a bracelet, a necklace, a keychain. And that is exactly invisaWear. I went to my best friend and I said, Ray, this happened to me. This was very scary. I can't find anything. And he was raised by a single mom. He has two sisters. Ray said to me, Raja, you don't even know the amount of times my sisters have worried about their safety. He shared with me a story where his sister said to him, she called him, it was late. She was walking to her car and she said, I think someone's following me. And Ray panicked. He said, who? What do you mean? Where are you? She's like, I don't know. He's like, where are you? She's like, I don't know, like on some street. And he said even he was panicked because what does he do in a situation like this? He's like 45 minutes away from her. He can't get to her easily. She doesn't know where she is. He felt so helpless. He was like, yeah, she had a device she could click. We would have at least known where she is and I could have tried to get there. The police would have been able to get there. And so that's what inspired the concept behind invisaWear. We ended up entering it into an entrepreneurship competition. And before we knew it, so many women on our college campus were coming up to us sharing horrible stories of sexual assault experiences. And that really opened my eyes to how massive of a problem it is. And at this point, I truly think, Mike, almost every single woman I know has had a scary situation where she's worried about her safety. And so many of the men in my life have also had personal situations that have led them to also worry about their safety.
Yeah, you're 100% right. That is a very, very common feeling, I think, among college students today, which, I think your product definitely does address that. Walk us through how your smart jewelry works and what makes it unique. I'm thinking as an entrepreneur, of course, what makes it unique compared to all the other safety solutions that are out there?
Absolutely. So the incredible thing about invisaWear is it looks exactly like everyday accessories. So it
Mhm.
looks like necklaces, bracelets, keychains, fitness bands, hair scrunchies. Who would think, Mike, that you could double click your hair to call 911? Now that's groundbreaking. Nothing like invisaWear exists on the market. All of the competitors in this space right now are big, ugly panic buttons, similar to the ones that my 80-year-old grandmother refuses to wear. Or there are these like things that scream, which self-defense instructors have actually warned against because it's more effective for you to use your voice and to direct someone to call for help if you're in an emergency situation. People tend to ignore alarms and car horns thinking that it was an accident. With invisaWear, if you ever feel uncomfortable or are in an emergency situation, you can double click this hidden button
Mhm.
and immediately we will send a text message to 5 emergency contacts that you pre-select in the app. The emergency contacts will be notified that you're feeling uncomfortable or that you're in potential danger, and it will send them a link to your live location. Not only that, but we have an incredible partnership with ADT, the leader in home security. So you can also opt in to contact 911 as well. Not only that, Mike, but we have so many incredible features that allow you to be proactive about your safety. My favorite feature is the video streaming functionality because it allows you to never have to walk home alone again. You can go into the app and you can share live video footage, basically like a FaceTime call with a trained safety agent at ADT who will stay with you on the phone until you get to your destination safely. You can use this almost every single day if you want while you're walking back to your car from classes. The agents are trained to be very friendly. They'll start off by saying, "Hey, Mike, how's it going? Are you okay? Is there anything we can help with?" They'll say, "Yeah, I'm just walking back to my car. Or I'm walking back to my dorm." They'll say, "Oh, amazing. Well, we're here to help. How's your day going?" And they'll make small talk. Should the situation escalate for any reason, like someone starts following you or someone's harassing you, they're very highly trained on how to intervene in the situation. For example, they'll say, "Back away, leave her alone, do not get any closer. We've notified 911. Back away, do not make a mistake. You're going to regret. Back away now." And that alone, Mike, is enough to deter an attacker because sadly, the cowards who are committing these crimes, they're looking for an easy target. They're not looking to get caught. So ADT can get you help firsthand. That's just one of the incredible features we have in the app. We also have voice activation, chat, safety timers, reassurance calls. We even provide our customers free self-defense classes once a quarter, where we teach them various different tips and tricks that they can use if they are in an emergency. Obviously, we tell them to press the button so the police can come help them. But at the same time, we teach them poke the person in the eyeballs, elbow them in the throat, knee them in the groin. If someone's grabbing you from behind, drop to the ground. So that way they're caught off guard and then push them off of you in certain techniques. But that's how
Wow.
it's different.
I mean, this is just absolutely amazing. This is incredible. I want to get this for my daughter who's a freshman in college right now.
Um,
What kind of price point are we talking about for these products?
they're very affordable. We have styles ranging anywhere between $99 to $249, and the subscription's only $11.99 a month.
Wow. Okay. So this is something that's affordable. I mean, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Talk to our audience, the aspiring entrepreneurs that are out here. What kind of challenges did you face in designing a product that blends fashion, because it definitely has that part of it, with also life-saving technology?
It was not easy starting a company, Michael. Exactly like you said, not easy either. Making the technology as small as possible, making
Mhm.
it visually appealing. We needed to raise a lot of money in order to do that. And when I started my company, I was actually only 21 years old. I faced a lot of age discrimination from investors. So many investors said, yes, we understand that this is a problem, but you're too young. You'll never be able to figure out how to bring this technology to life. One investor looked me in the eyes, Mike, and he said, so you want me to give a 21-year-old hundreds of thousands of dollars? Have you lost your mind?
Wow.
And I probably talked to like 100 investors who said no to funding our company before I got our first investor. And as soon as I got our first investor, it was a domino effect. We kept meeting the right investors who believed in us, and we ended up raising millions of dollars to develop the technology and bring it to market.
Wow, that is just absolutely incredible. What a story. And I love your persistence. I think that is ultimately why you're going to be really successful is because you're persistent. Like you don't, stop when you get your first obstacle. You just keep looking, all right, where else can we go? And the other thing that's impressive too is the scale of this. You scale to 100,000 customers, which I know as an entrepreneur, that is not easy to do. So, what were some of the strategies that you used in order to achieve this great growth?
Yeah, great question. So actually, we're much larger than that. That's just one of the numbers we share that we've sold over 100,000 devices. But I
Mhm.
can confirm we've actually sold even more than 200,000 devices. And we have reached over 2.5 million women in
Wow.
our community, which is just such an honor and dream come true. One of the things that really inspired our growth was actually happy customers. So our first year on the market, we actually made national headlines for helping a young woman in a scary car accident. She was trapped in the car, severely injured, and her phone had gotten thrown, and she couldn't get access of it. She used her invisaWear to call for help, and the family was so grateful. When she got out of the hospital, they called every major news station in Boston, and the story got picked up by ABC News nationally and fueled our growth, which was so incredible. And then social media in general has just been so powerful for us. We're about to hit 1 million on TikTok. We surpassed 1 million on YouTube. I think we're about to hit 400,000 on Instagram. And it's all thanks to other women and men who are sharing similar stories to the one I experienced and encouraging others to protect themselves and their loved ones. But was not easy. And honestly, I credit all of it to just our amazing community who keeps engaging with our content and telling other people about it, and incredible people like you who bring us onto podcasts and share our story on the news.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible work. I mean, in terms of the fundraising, you raised a lot of money, and, certainly you can say, well, I just never gave up, right? But how do you approach fundraising, and what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs that are also seeking to raise capital in the tech industry?
You have to be at the right place at the right time. I always joke that the harder you work, the luckier you get. So I'll share with you a funny story of how we got a $1 million investment, actually. So we had raised our financing in 2 rounds. We did a friends and family round that was just angels in the Lowell, Massachusetts community. And
Mhm.
then we did a pre-seed round as well shortly after. So a local accelerator had reached out to me. They said, wow, you've been super successful. You've raised some money. Can you come pitch to our entrepreneurs and show them what a mock presentation would look like? We're going to do like a friendly Shark Tank style. I go in, Michael, and I do this friendly Shark Tank style. I share how we've raised money, how we've been super successful. We made national headlines for saving a young woman's life. I share the horrible statistics that you and I discussed earlier in the episode. And the panel of judges looks at me, and the first gentleman says, I've never heard of women worrying about their safety. My wife's never complained about her safety. I just don't really see a use or a need for this product. Can you believe that, Mike?
No, I can't because I know too much.
Oh my gosh, I was appalled. The women in the audience all started booing. And I said, Sir, with all due respect, I think the women in the audience would happen to disagree with you. And he kind of was like, I just like I've never personally worried about my safety. And I said, with all due respect, 1 in every 6 women are experiencing an attempted or completed rape. If we sold one product to every person who's experienced a situation like this, we'd sell millions of devices a year. Of course, we're trying to get this in the hands of as many people as possible to prevent these situations and to decrease these horrible statistics, but no. And then we move on to the next judge. And I have a male co-founder who's my best friend from college, who I mentioned to you. The second judge decides to take the cake. He looks at me and my co-founder and he says, how are you guys related to each other? Are you guys sleeping with each other? In front of an entire audience,
Oh my
Michael.
gosh.
Can you believe that?
No, I can't. What's
It's
it their business?
horrifying. Both of these two men were very well-known individuals in the Boston community, both senior executives at some really incredible companies. So it was just so heartbreaking to hear such disgusting and sexist comments. But I left the event and I was a little upset. I was like, wow, I can't believe that happened. I was here trying to help entrepreneurs, donate my time, just trying to share some lessons, and I didn't expect this was what was going to come out of it.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I hope my story was inspiring to some people. And I had shared that during our first round, we got so many no's and that you shouldn't give up. So I hope that resonated, that we got some like backlash. And I kid you not, about a week later, I get a phone call from a gentleman named Matt. Matt says, hi, Raja. I was in the audience listening to you giving tips to the entrepreneurs. And I was incredibly disgusted by the feedback and reaction from those two judges. I went back and I took it to, I'm a financial advisor. I took it back to a woman I work with. Her name is Michelle. Michelle's a very successful entrepreneur. And I said, you won't believe I listened to this young girl. She had a great idea, and this was the reaction. And Michelle said that this is the greatest idea she had ever heard and was wondering if you'd be willing to have a conversation with her. And I said, yes, absolutely. I would love to have a conversation with Michelle. Thank you so much for reaching out. And Michelle said to me, Raja, I was very young when I was starting my first company as well. I faced a lot of age discrimination. I faced a lot of sexism. I think what you have here is an incredible concept. I think you've demonstrated a lot of traction, and I would like to invest in the company. And it was just like so incredible. Talk about being at the right place at the right time, saying yes to all the opportunities.
Yeah.
But I could go into so much
Yeah.
more, Mike, on how to raise funding. That was just basic advice. But maybe another day I'll come on and I could talk to you about this topic for 2 hours.
That's awesome. Well, I love how you just took a negative situation and you turned it obviously into a huge success story, right? And I think that's the moral of the story is that even when things don't go right, you never know who's in the audience who's going to contact you after and go, you know what? Like what just happened? It was ridiculous, but I have a solution for you.
Exactly.
So I mean that's wow, what a story. That's unbelievable. Obviously funding is certainly an obstacle in getting a company like this off the ground. Were there any other obstacles that you faced as a startup that that you could talk about and how you overcame them? I mean, I would imagine that the design and other things, there were probably several versions of your product over time as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Running a startup is always a roller coaster. There's so many challenges. I always joke. Someone told me that businesses don't fail, it's people who quit. And I truly
Mhm.
do believe that to my core. Running a startup, you need to be able to fix challenges and get through any issues you experience. Raising funding was honestly one of the biggest challenges at the very beginning. And then thankfully, when we demonstrated success and demonstrated that people wanted the product, investors started coming to us. And even till this day, we're about to start raising another round of financing soon. And investors are now at the stage where they're coming to us, which is just, I'm so grateful for. But other challenges, honestly, at the beginning were development.
Hmm.
I learned why nobody's innovated the personal safety space in 100 years. It is not easy. The technology has to work 100% of the time. It needs to be reliable because people's lives quite literally depend on you.
Hmm.
In order to make people want to wear the device, it has to be visually appealing, which means it has to be as small as possible. And manufacturing high-end technology and making it very small was not an easy task. So that was a huge challenge, but thankfully, we actually have one of the world's smallest Bluetooth modules inside of our device, which really helped, but it was not easy for sure. Hardware companies, inventory is another thing. When
Yeah.
we blew up on the news, we sold 6 months worth of inventory in one day.
Oh
So we
man.
need to make sure we are always sourcing components in advance. Thankfully, one of our lead investors actually owns a manufacturing plant where we make our product. So he had seen so many things when we sold out of 6 months worth of product in a day, Mike. We were scrambling. We called him. We're like, we sold out of all our inventory. We need inventory yesterday. And you'll never believe this. This is one of my favorite stories. He looked at me, he smiled, he said, I've been in business for 40 years. I've seen this happen time and time again. I bought inventory for your company on my own dime, and I kept the raw materials in-house because I knew this day would come. I knew people will love this product. I knew this will blow up. And we had zero supply chain issues
Wow.
thanks to an incredible act of kindness
Yeah,
from
that's incredible. I mean, that just shows you, having the right people on your team that have experience in this will help you tremendously. So he saved your bacon,
He
quite
did.
literally.
Would have been such a disaster had we
Oh
run
man,
out and people would
absolutely.
have been pissed off. But like you said, that's a great lesson. You always need to be surrounding yourself with very experienced individuals who are way more intelligent than you. And I love saying all of my team is a lot more intelligent than I am in all of their areas of expertise because you need things like that. You need the person who's been in manufacturing for 40 years who knows that one big event could cause you to sell out of 6 months.
Hmm.
Who
Yeah,
could
we
do
agree
it?
completely. I mean, I have the same philosophy in my company as well. I mean, I got 28 employees and they're all better than I am and
I
smarter than I am
love
because
that.
I need them to speak up when they see something that I can't see, right?
Exactly.
It's just
Yes,
I can't see it. So I depend on them in order to point
agree.
these things out to me. Really, really good stuff. Now, other than buying your product, which I think is step number one, I mean, that's what they should be doing in order to stay safe on college campuses. Is there any other advice that you would give to students in terms of staying safe and being prepared in potentially dangerous situations?
Yeah, thank you. So definitely take self-defense classes. We all never think something like this will happen until it does. So please be proactive. Please take the self-defense classes. Follow invisaWear on social media. We share a lot of helpful free tips and resources. We have a webinar as well that we send to customers if they sign up on our newsletter. And so please feel free to join that. Um, Please share awareness if you've had an experience where you've worried about your safety. Share that story online so other people can also be vigilant and can learn from what happened to you. We have an affiliate program, Mike, that a lot of college students actually join. So you can sign up for free. You get a 10% discount code. And if you share that discount code on social and someone buys your product, they can get 10% discount. You can make 10% commission. And we've had college students make $7,000 from like one viral post that they've made about our product. So if people are looking for extra cash, that is a great way to do so. But other than that, please share your story. Please stay connected with us. My Instagram handle is Rajia XOXO. Rajia spelled Rajia and then XOXO. So feel free to shoot me a DM if you've had a story that you'd like shared. And I can't thank you enough, Mike, for having me on and for letting me share my story. I hope
It's
my
my
story
pleasure.
inspires others to also follow their dreams and to not give up after the 99th investor says no.
I love it. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Raja, I want you to share it, like it on social media, share it with other students that are also interested in personal safety on their college campus. I think that is super important. And thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it.
You got it. To our listeners, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.